Everyone. Thank you very much for attending our e-commerce presentation this morning. Excited to tell you what I know about e-commerce and show you a few examples of sites I've worked on, and even a couple I haven't, but that my developers have done, which function very well. Let's get started right away. I want to begin by mentioning that this presentation is geared mostly toward people with an existing business who are interested in adding e-commerce to their website, or adding e-commerce to their business, I should say. Chances are they haven't. You have a website or a business, and that's why you're here. You're looking to enhance your business with e-commerce. And so we're going to look at different ways to jump into it. But I'm going to try to keep this to the fundamentals for a new business or an existing business to get into e-commerce for the first time. So it's kind of an e-commerce 101. Fair enough? All right, so let's get into the content now. Starting with a definition, I love this one because it's very simple and it boils e-commerce down to its essence. Commercial transactions conducted electronically on the internet, period. What you don't see there is human interaction. The human being is really the customer ordering online and placing the order online, paying online, and never has to talk to someone. Maybe they do later in following up, or maybe there's a service component. But they can make this purchase online without any human interaction whatsoever. They just get the product and the company gets paid. Pretty elegant. So why would you want to go e-commerce? Probably because today people are online more and more. COVID has made a tremendous shift in our economy. And so much of the digital transformation is affecting how we do business, and that's doing business all electronically and all online, contactless, as it were. Okay, continuing with some of the fundamentals, and these are just questions you really should ask before you jump into e-commerce. Will it work for you? If your customers are already accustomed to shopping online and they buy products maybe similar to yours, or if you can logistically see how someone could go online, order your product, you get it off the shelf, you package it up and ship it, maybe you add custom accessories or whatever they order, ship it out the door and fill the order, there's a good chance e-commerce can work for you. Are your competitors successful with it? Are they doing a volume of business online that might be cutting into your market share? If so, it's probably time to look into it. And, people ask about or wonder about the cost. How much is this going to cost me? What's the ROI, the return on investment? Well, that's a very, very important question. So really think it through. What I'll tell you is that e-commerce costs more than an informational website and traditional lead generation that you would want to get people to visit your website, and maybe they call you or they email you, they contact you somehow, fill out a form, and you have a conversation. So, is it going to work for you? Keep it simple. If you keep your product offering very simple, your costs will be way down, okay? So keep in mind, there will be an investment, and if you keep things simple, chances are you're going to have a better return on that investment sooner. Keep the customer in mind. It's always about the customer. So this is a very important slide here. What are your goals really? And again, you may want to pause a minute before you decide, oh, e-commerce is for my business. I got to get into it. Everyone's online. Oh, what if I don't? You know, that kind of thing. Well, let me just tell you a quick story. An IT services company, an IT managed services provider, an MSP, recently, and this is a CEO that I know, was telling me that e-commerce was the worst decision he ever made. He got into it, jumped into it with both feet several years ago. He happens to sell a lot of hardware, you know, computer hardware and servers and laptops, you name it. He sells it gladly. But e-commerce was a disaster. It was a tremendous expense and investment. They jumped into it with both feet, had a robust offering, and it became more of a cost and just didn't pay for itself whatsoever. So he exited it, and as it turns out, his company is the most successful IT services company in the Upper Valley today. They're doing very well without it. So it's not for everyone. Do other IT services companies sell products online? Of course they do. They found a formula that works, but it may not work for everyone. So really think it through. And what do you really want to add to your business with e-commerce? Is it new customers, new source of revenue, a more convenient avenue for your customers? You want to make things easier for them? That's a good reason. And do you really need a lead generation website that would make your phone ring? Maybe that's a better option for you. But let's get back into e-commerce. I don't want to dissuade anyone here because the opportunities are really tremendous if you do it right. So think about lead generation marketing when you launch your e-commerce site, so you'll have customers going and finding your website. And last slide on your goals. You're going to want to make sure that you have a return on your investment. And the great thing about an e-commerce setup is that it's all digital. And guess what? It's all data driven. And so all the data points are captured. For every sale you make, every transaction that's completed online, guess what? If it's a new person, you have a new customer and a new email address to which you can remarket. All right, so it has a way of snowballing. All right, if you continue with remarketing efforts. So it's very easy to measure your success. You will be able to quite easily calculate your costs going into it, setting it up, developing your store, and the maintenance costs, the kind of the month-to-month bills that you have to pay these platforms to keep hosting and processing transactions. We'll get into all of that. So the data is all at your fingertips and available to you anytime. So you'll know if it's paying off. And incidentally, if any of you have questions, certainly there's time at the end of this. So hold on to them. If there's something that seems urgent, raise your hand and put it in the chat. Maybe we can answer it quickly. But let's continue here. And again, plenty of opportunity for questions a little later. I want to talk about your website design, the user experience, the front end. This is your storefront. One of the ways to help be successful in the beginning and to generate ROI quickly is to make the offer very simple and to limit your product offerings, especially in the beginning, starting out with the real high demand bestsellers. Those products that you move all the time and that people are looking for and constantly buying. Make those prominent upfront and just intuitive and easy to buy. And you want to really make sure that your photography and your videos that support the products in terms of the sale are of the highest quality you can get. And these are assets. Treat them as such and invest in them if you don't have them. Great photography is really crucial, and it's pretty obvious why. You'll want to, if you look at a product online and it doesn't look great, you just won't buy it. The merchandising, I'm just continuing that thought here. Make sure that your photography is great and that you have a nice, simple array of product categories that people can intuitively find on your website. You want to make that transaction easy, and the good news is the e-commerce platforms basically are these shopping carts, and they do all the work for you. And they're quite intuitive. And if we've all shopped online, and most of us have had pretty good experiences. So you want to follow suit. Whatever good experiences you've ever had shopping online, try to make that happen on your website. And make sure you can deliver if you're successful. Plan for success and have those logistics in place for packaging, labeling, shipping, delivery, and payment processing. So now I want to get into some examples, some real live examples. And I'm going to have to toggle screens here, so if you'll bear with me a minute. I'm going to show you several websites and the user experience that their customers have. And we'll get into probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 different websites here. And they're all very different. So you're going to see some good variety, and hopefully you'll get some ideas for your own business in what you see here. All right, so I'm exiting to open up Hunt's Photo. All right, so Hunt's Photo is America's oldest camera store. And we don't do their e-commerce website to sell cameras and accessories, but we do handle their e-commerce component for selling previously recorded courses in their education area. So Hunt's Photo has a really great photo university, essentially. So Hunt's Photo Education, you can attend all kinds of live classes, webinars, and now their webinars are pre-recorded and they're of excellent, excellent quality. You can imagine a photo company, their videography and their photography are of good quality, and theirs are for sure. So during the COVID meltdown, if you will, last March and through April, these classes pretty much had to shut down, but they had a great library of pre-recorded classes. So they thought, well, we could augment our revenues by selling these classes online. And so what you're looking at is a fully integrated online store. This is kind of a hybrid e-commerce site because Hunt's Photo Education is its own separate website. It's a WordPress website that offers traditional online courses and workshops, and they have various photo adventure events you can go on. But COVID has really cut back on that. And so now they're selling a lot of pre-recorded classes. And so we integrated this store, and let's say you want to find out about lighting and flash to do with portraits. You would look at these courses available. You can see that there's lighting for food styling, flash triggers, portraits outside. That might be one you're interested in getting good portraits using natural light. It's $20. You click it, gets you a description, and there it is. You add it to your bag and go to checkout. You can see that I have one in my bag, and they have decided to use PayPal as an easy, seamless payment processor. I'm not a fan of using PayPal, but it works and it's available. The cost is a little high, but it's reasonable. And here's the issue that I have with it. When you go to PayPal to pay, you don't have a seamless transaction. You go outside of the website and you have to either log into your PayPal account or sign in as a guest. So you have these extra steps it takes. So I'm not a fan of using PayPal, but if you have nothing else or just want something quick and easy to install, go for it. PayPal will get it done for you. Okay. I'm going to get into another kind of a hybrid website that is really informational as well as enabling online orders. And this is a computer recycler and reseller called Spigot River Electronics. They're in Lawrence, Mass. And they sell all kinds of computers, laptops, desktops. They sell enterprise level servers and all kinds of electronic devices, phones, you name it, pretty much all kinds of commercial electronics, quality pre-owned. Okay, so they have a nice looking website, and they have a complete e-commerce offering using eBay. Okay, so eBay gives you a solid platform that you can jump into. All you really need is your product listings, the photos and the descriptions, and you fill in the fields and use their tools. It's totally searchable. The search function works great on eBay. If you have various categories and different names of products, you can search just about anything and it'll bring it up for you. Okay, so Spigot River Electronics is currently selling on eBay online, and they also sell traditionally over the phone, and they have a retail store, a walk-in store in Lawrence, Mass. So ordering something like this online is important. They want to sell to enterprise companies all over the country and have the opportunity to do so with e-commerce. Not so much in the traditional way. They're more New England based. Okay, so you can see they have 3 different stores. This is for their electronics. You saw the computers before. And so there you have it, 3 different eBay stores. Now, here's the thing. You'll notice they sell a lot of phones on their electronics store. We are currently building out a new, a Magento store, and I can't quite navigate. There it is. This is in development. Okay, so this is a store that we're currently integrating onto the Spigot River Electronics website. And when this is completed, the eBay store is going to go away from this website. We're going to replace the eBay links with a Magento created store. Magento is the Adobe product for e-commerce. It's very robust and very complex, very complicated. I don't really recommend it, but my client has a very specific reason for getting onto Magento, and so we're helping him integrate. A lot of work needs to be done to get this to work, and so we're actually bringing in some third-party developers to implement some of the final steps because you kind of need it. This is a laptop, actually, and you can see we're in the Magento store now with just a minor Spigot River branding. This is all going to be cleaned up and categorized. but it takes some doing. And so I'm just showing you this because it's kind of an example of getting into a platform that may be more than you need, which Magento is made for big business and big enterprise clients. But it functions any number of ways. And this store will actually be an additional store. This Magento store will be in addition to the eBay store. So it's going to add another whole channel of sales for Spigot River Electronics. All right, so I think I've gone into enough detail about this particular client. And I want to show you another example of a hybrid website. And this is primarily a lead generation website with an e-commerce component, mostly for customer convenience and for those customers who prefer to shop online. And it's very important for them to capture that market share that's going online. But Bow Auto Parts far prefers to sell over the phone, and they find it's more profitable, and they can help their customers much better that way, get the exact part they need. Because, you know, you might make a mistake on a model year or a VIN number when you're filling out their eBay store. But let's take a look at it real briefly. You can see that buy now, use the phone, let our experts help you find a part, call the number. Okay, talks about some of their differentiation. We have an excellent video, company video here for user engagement and branding and marketing, more phone numbers, and lots of great content on this website. This website is super performing in SEO, search engine optimization. They get tens of thousands of hits every month, and they get just amazing amounts of phone calls from this website. And every time someone calls this number, it's tracked. And so we know exactly who's ordering, and we measure their e-commerce as well as their telephone revenue down to the penny. But let me show you their e-commerce component. They have also chosen to use eBay. And so you can search for parts and buy them online. And it's extremely simple. Remember, simplicity sells, simplicity works, simplicity is appreciated online and with e-commerce transactions. So you can see that Bow Auto Parts has a very simple eBay store where you choose the make, year, model, and type of part, and then you search for it, and it'll bring up a whole myriad of choices from both their own warehouse in Bow or one of the partners in their parts network. So they sell all over the country on this eBay site, and it really does quite well for them. All right, so let's say you want a BMW, you're a 2014 320i, very popular model you happen to own, and you need, let's see, you need, how about a front door assembly? So they sell body parts as well, car body parts. Okay, so you have all these different, that's a tough one to fill apparently. But you do have some options and some various other parts that didn't work too well. So if you go back to their eBay store, you can pretty much find any part and whether it's available here and order it right online. So this is kind of a hybrid website, primarily lead generation with an e-commerce component. Okay, so let's look at a couple of more pure e-commerce sites, or I shouldn't say more. Let's look at some websites that were designed specifically for e-commerce from the very beginning. JavaTree is a company in Londonderry, New Hampshire. And guess what? They sell coffee. And they sell coffee online. And they have a very simple way to order. They list their product categories with nice tiles here, pricing all there, ready to go. And so the experience is simple, and it's just designed to get you to buy the type of coffee you like. And here you have a very simple shopping cart, a very simple store with some nice background information to kind of, support the decision to buy. And you go ahead and add it. Oh, what is that? Bean option. Oh, see, you get some options here. Isn't that nice? I want whole bean, and I'm going to add it. And then I think that's all I want today. So I go to checkout, and there we are. Nice, simple, easy checkout. You got to provide an email address. Isn't that great? That way they can sell to me again. And of course I can opt out if I want. So I'll check out. I give my name, my credit card information, all that stuff, and it'll fulfill my order. So it tells you if you need to fill information in. It helps you along the way. Great little e-commerce site. I like this one too. This is a company that sells gun leather products, and it's primarily designed as an e-commerce website. And so you can go to, new products. They have kind of a nice navigation. They give some fairly good options for customers, and they have a nice easy drop down for their products. So you can go to holsters and see that they have a relatively nice limited selection here, which probably most pistol owners would find something they like. So it takes you to some great product detail, and each one of these can be ordered readily. So you can place your order. They have an order form here. I'm not crazy about the need to use this. So this isn't really a purely e-commerce based website. But this website this is a website that sells hardware it's like architectural hardware for doors, windows, latches of all kinds, and they sell a lot of different brand products, as you can see. So if you want to shop, you go right to their whole product line. It's just a very simple tiled page here, and you go to hinges, and you have a couple of choices. You go to the one you need, and they have various product options and sizes, all with the prices right there, and a very simple shopping cart that you can add and then check out. And see how easy that works. Very straightforward, very simple. Okay. Well, we've covered a few examples here. And is there anything I haven't covered? This one, going back to Mitch Rosen, it's funny, I had used this before, and I found it easier when I did. It must have been in the navigation. So I'm back into a section of the store here, and I believe because they have so many different product categories and accessories, that the navigation could be slightly more intuitive. And for the record, this is not my client, but I do like the product, and my developer pointed this out as one of his examples. Okay, so this does have a good shopping cart without the necessity of filling out that order form. So there we go. Go to checkout. All right. So a little bit more of a complicated website, but highly functioning. And this is a somewhat older website as well, as you can see by the overall layout. Okay, so I want to get back into my slide presentation, if you'll bear with me for more PowerPoint. And let's move ahead quickly to where we were here. So bear with me. Looking at some screens here of what I showed you earlier. Here's another e-commerce website. I do want to show this one because this is a B2B company that has the opportunity to sell consumer products as well, but they're primarily an industrial netting supplier and engineered netting supplier. Okay, so they do all kinds of custom large work for the construction industry and for industrial use and containment and things like that, shipping and containment, sports, amusement park, safety netting. Safety is a big part of their industry. But they have an online store. As you can see, a seamless transition into a very simple store that we have integrated for them. And this is an add-on, a quick add-on that we did within about 1 week for a very affordable cost. And you can buy online any of these nets. And if you click on the nets, you can fill your shopping cart. These are slides actually. And this is an example of a shopping cart I filled up with 5 different items for a total of $1,800 worth of nets. And when I go to checkout, I come right to this nice, simple, easy checkout page. And when I hit that pay button right there, the transaction goes through, they get the order, they package it up, ship the nets to me, they're already paid, everyone's happy. So now they're competing with one of their main competitors that jumped into e-commerce a few years ago, and they're catching up. But we're going to build this store out a lot more. Netting.com, very, very good example of a simple e-commerce add-on. And that can be done very quickly if that's all you need. Okay, so I need to get back into the presentation here. If again, you'll bear with me, I'll get right back to our netting store and our checkout. Last but not least, how about a restaurant? A lot of restaurants are doing more online ordering than ever before. And this is an example of a Thai restaurant in Concord. And I placed an order at last Mother's Day, right in the height of the COVID lockdown. And they converted to all e-commerce. You pick up your order, but that's the only human it's contactless. They had a little booth where they put the food and so forth. But a restaurant can be a great e-commerce opportunity, especially nowadays. When you click that first button, by the way, you can see that they want to bring, the button's right in the middle. They want to bring you to order online. It brings you their menu. Okay, so this menu is actually a live e-commerce store, and these are all live links. So if you click, let's say, chicken satay, here you come to the order, and you simply add it to your cart. What's kind of nice about this one is you can add special instructions for your order. And they give you a couple of different options for timing. Excuse me about that. You can choose what time to deliver. Most of the time you're going to pay with a credit card, and whether or not it's going to be delivery or pickup. That's fulfillment option. And then you just place your order, and you go pick it up at the agreed time. Very simple. Okay, so we've already seen Spigot River and these Okay, so here's an important kind of a summary, if you will. Um, Hopefully you've seen some good examples of how e-commerce works from both a combined standpoint, having a traditional lead generation website with an e-commerce offering and option for customers, a full-blown e-commerce website that's just designed to sell products online, um, and some hybrid examples in there. So let's talk about the actual integration of the implementation of your e-commerce store. I think some of you may be getting into this for the first time, or maybe you've already done it and want to see if there's a better way. So the first thing anyone needs if they want to get online with anything, with any kind of website, is a domain name. www.yourname.com or .us or whatever. There's lots of options for domain names today. So register a domain name that you own. Go to GoDaddy, go to networksolutions.com, and it's very easy to buy a domain name to see if it's available. So that's fundamental stuff. I think everybody knows what a domain name is today, but you need one. And then make sure that you plan your e-commerce offering all the way through. Plan it through logistically. Plan the website design. Make sure you have your products and your product listings and your product photography ready to upload into the store back end. Obviously, you're going to need a website, and you might build a brand new website using an e-commerce website builder, a whole e-commerce platform, which I'll get into in a minute. You're going to need products to sell or services to somehow deliver to your once the transaction is completed online. Have a way to provide the service, whatever it may be. Having a calendar, an appointment calendar that populates with appointments and meetings to deliver the service. Or if it's product, it's product. Make sure you can package it properly, ship it properly, make sure that shipping costs are accounted for. And there are methodologies for that using UPS rates, USPS rates, FedEx, you name it. So there's a few things that you have to tie together to make your e-commerce function. So wait, there's more. Okay, so let's say you have a website. You need to choose an e-commerce platform. And some of these are actual website builders, but eBay, let's begin with eBay. I showed you a couple of examples of eBay stores that function very well. So it's a turnkey solution. It's ready to go. It's got great tools, but they take 10% right off the top. Can you afford that kind of a margin? And can you price your products in such a way to give away that margin and still be profitable? WooCommerce is a great standalone e-commerce website builder, and it's also a great plugin for an existing website. It's very compatible with WordPress primarily. So I would recommend WooCommerce as an excellent e-commerce platform that's very flexible. Shopify, you're starting to get into a little bit more of an enterprise level class of e-commerce, and it's a full website builder. So you can have your whole website hosted and running on Shopify. Same thing with Magento. I showed you the Magento store that we're building, and I don't recommend Magento to small business. If you're a large enterprise class, it might have all the whistles and bells and tools and functions that you need, but let me tell you from experience, it takes a specialist, a trained specialist developer to get everything done. It's not very user friendly unless you're trained as a Magento developer. Okay. Now we get to the pièce de résistance, in my opinion, and that's Ecwid. Ecwid isn't really a household or everyday name in e-commerce, but it's run kind of quietly on the back ends of many websites, and that is my preferred e-commerce platform because it's the most flexible. It's very affordable. You can jump into a robust e-commerce store offering for something like $130 a year for the whole cost of the platform and hosting. I won't say hosting, but for the cost of running your e-commerce store, all the functionality. That's a great deal. It really works beautifully as a seamless custom integration with an existing website design. That's what I love about Ecwid. You don't have to rebuild or create a whole new section of your website. You can use your existing websites. Let's say you have a beautiful, wonderful website. You just need to direct people to buy products easily. Ecwid would be my recommended solution. Okay, so you have a website with an e-commerce platform. Now you're going to need to process payments. Okay, so once someone hits the checkout button, you need to be able to collect the money, and they need to pay you. So here are some payment processor options for you that will integrate really with any of the e-commerce platforms. These are payment gateways or payment processors. And I begin with Stripe. I think Stripe is among the best. It's very popular, it's very scalable, and it's quite affordable. I think it's in the couple hundred a year to get into a Stripe account that will cover multiple products. And it's very dependable. Just works great. It's like it never doesn't work. Square is very popular. Probably some of you have heard of Square, maybe used it. They have great mobile point of sale payment options. You may have seen people with a little Square device they insert on the phone and swipe credit cards. And they have other like mobile point of sale hardware and options that you can use on site. Great for retail. Merchant One is an excellent, robust bank grade payment system. Great, it's super high security, highly rated by many e-commerce companies now. So you can do all this research on the internet, find the right one for you. PayPal, hey, it's available, it's simple, it's turnkey. Any developer can add it in. Most non-developers can add PayPal to their website if they can use a content management system. The problem with it, it doesn't offer a seamless checkout. When you hit that payment button, you're taken out of the website into PayPal, and you may have to perform 2 or 3 extra steps to make the payment, but it works. And Authorize.net is another popular, website payment processor integration. It's an API. It's the application program interface, which means it essentially integrates with your existing website functionality tools or e-commerce platform to make that payment go through. So the payment processor, obviously important to get the money into your bank account and have the customer make a nice, easy payment and be on their way, ready to accept their order. Okay, so just going back real quick, you need your domain name, you need your website, you need your content, you need your product and service listings so that you upload all that correct information and the store kind of does the rest for you, which is nice. That's what these platforms do. And then you need to add a payment processor, a payment gateway. And we just went over those, some of those options here. Again, I like, I'm sorry, we're the e-commerce platforms. I like Equid, again, as one of the most affordable and flexible options. Again, okay, the payment processor, I kind of got those two reversed. Some good options out there. I like Stripe personally. My clients have had great results on Stripe, and it's quite affordable. So again, putting those several pieces together probably requires some help, unless you're a do-it-yourselfer and you're a developer and have those skills. I would recommend working with your current developer especially if they have a track record of building functioning stores and doing e-commerce already. Talk with them about the options, with this newfound knowledge that you have, and let them help you through the steps. And if you are the do-it-yourselfer type and would like to just build your own store from scratch, you can. And it may be easier than you think. There are lots and lots of instructional videos for creating an e-commerce store in YouTube. And if you get stuck, if you don't feel like calling me or asking questions of someone, go to YouTube and just intuitively search for the information you need. And chances are, like search for how do I set up a WooCommerce store. You'll get instructional videos step-by-step how to do it. And also, we have a workbook here that it's actually an Excel spreadsheet. And I want to make this available to all of you attendees. All you need to do is contact with me anytime after this webinar ends by email, and I'll be sure to send you the workbook and be available to answer questions by telephone or by email, as long as you need to pick my brain, really. So feel free to call me afterwards and take advantage of the workbook if it can help you. I'll just send it out as an attachment in an email. Very simple. You don't have to fill out any forms or leave your email address with me even. But there's a good chance I'll have it because you're going to send me an email. All right, so hopefully I have provided some edifying information here. To those of you newbies with e-commerce and those who are just interested in what it might take to get online and start selling products. So I'm going to open it up to any questions that the audience might have. If you're shy, that's okay. But, while we have some time here, I think we have about 10 minutes or so before the official end of this webinar. Feel free to send your questions over in the chat, or perhaps you can raise your hand and get online live with us. Tammy, I'm sorry. You're Tracy, really, aren't you?
Thanks, Chuck. So my question is what if I'm a business that doesn't sell a product? I'm more of a service-oriented business, but I want to add e-commerce to my website so that I can take payments from my customers. Would these platforms still work for that?
Yes. However, you won't necessarily need an e-commerce platform if you can deliver your product and take payment. It can deliver your service somehow. You just need to take payments online. So what you'll need is a payment processor. All right. So you might want to look at Merchant One or Stripe, or even just PayPal, and have that payment processor available on your website. This would be the simplest way for a service business to technically get into e-commerce, because a person could go online, fill out a simple form without necessarily it being on an e-commerce platform, and then just hit the payment button, and that'll take them into the payment processor, which will transact a credit card payment. And so now you're paid. The only thing from there is figuring out how to deliver the service. And so, you could have a follow-up mechanism. It could be automated that brings them to an appointment calendar, and they pick and choose a time that you're available to do a session and then book an appointment. Okay, so typically that's how service businesses would operate an e-commerce transaction. Just do the transaction online, the financial part, and then deliver the service however you and your customer best decide that. Does that help?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This is Brandon. I had the same exact thought. I don't really need a e-commerce site, but just want to be able to offer customers a different way to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something like, I don't know, I think you mentioned Stripe or something. Is that, if I don't want that on my website necessarily, is it something I could send in a link with my invoice? Because now I do all my invoicing digitally, electronically by email. Is it something that could just be included as a link in the invoice email?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, that's how my web partners actually bill me, is through either an online payment portal, which is Stripe, or I think it's Merchant One in my case, powered, or they send me an invoice with a link, and then I click that link and it just brings me to a payment portal. It's not even on their website. So the answer is yes, you can do that quite easily.
Okay.
So you could have an online payment portal for customers to just go online and pay whenever they feel like it, or just give you money for that matter, No, that's not true. But yeah, so however you want to handle it, through a link or just a page, very simple.
Like is it Stripe, or am I calling it the wrong name?
Yeah, Stripe. Stripe is a payment processor that would enable you to do those things. Merchant One is another really good one. So you probably should look into those two.
Okay. Is that different than, like, I've had people call me, I don't know if they're banks or just credit card processing companies or service providers, maybe? Is that different in some way than that?
No, chances are they, any credit card processing company out there, and yeah, I've been called on by them too. They're basically specialists in setting up electronic payment systems. And so if you've been called on by companies like that and you trust their salesperson is going to bring good information, by all means, give them a call, pick their brain, see if they have good options.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm reluctant just because nobody, people still pay us by check, and I'm under, I understand that's kind of old fashioned, but nobody has asked, do we take credit cards? So it's like, I'm not sure why, but I guess they don't care. But it seems,
I think in your business, Brandon, it's like a pretty big ticket purchase, and you're dealing with a homeowner, and the schedule is kind of flexible. So just writing a check and mailing it or handing it to you makes sense, right? It's hey, they can just whip out their checkbook. But you might run into that customer that's going to ask. I would think that over time, at some point, someone will ask you, oh, I'm in Florida. I can mail you a check, but hey, can I just go online and pay you that way? You might want to say yes, so you can have your money right away instead of wait a week or so.
Exactly. That's my thought. Well, anyway, that's my interest today. So sorry, I kind of registered last minute, but
Oh, I'm glad you did.
interesting, Chuck. Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Brandon.
I don't see myself setting up a store, but payment processing is a different thing. So I don't, but who knows? Maybe I should set up a store.
Well, yeah, you'd have to figure out pricing and packages and how to get people to pay and wait for their service to happen, I guess.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks again. Appreciate it.
Okay, good chatting, Brandon. Any other questions?
Chuck, if you're a retail business, how difficult is it to manage inventory after you have set up an e-commerce site? Um, somebody purchases something online and you want that reflected in your inventory database.
Mm-hmm.
Do the tools that you were talking about, do they have something that manages that?
Yes, good, excellent question. All of the major platforms will integrate with an ERP system, for example. So a retailer will already have some sort of an inventory control and tracking system in place. ERP is kind of enterprise requirement planning. But an ERP system, most people know what that is, and retailers, of size and scope will have one to manage their inventory. And so, yes, these platforms will integrate so that every sale made online or in the store is accounted for and tracked, and the inventory is adjusted accordingly.
And what would you say is the skill level? If you're a new business that's getting up and starting, and say, you have some pretty decent basic computer skills, but like on a scale of 1 to 10, to get an e-commerce site up and running, what would you say is the skill level needed to do that? And where would you say, call a professional?
Okay, so skill level from 1 to 10, 1 being I've never really designed a site or worked on a content management system on a website or anything like that. To 10 being I'm a professional developer on multiple platforms, PHP programmer, HTML, et cetera, experience with all kinds of different e-commerce solutions. Okay, so that's the range. I'm going to say probably you'd want to be about a 7 to be comfortable, a 7 or an 8 to be really comfortable in building your own e-commerce store from scratch. That's my experience telling me that. But it's a good question. I think that technology savvy range is important to understand before you jump into this and get yourself into the weeds, so to speak.
Right, and you certainly, you don't want to have a lot of room for error when it's your business and you're hoping to make your living by selling a product online. It sounds like really having somebody who's a professional is the better option.
Yeah, I would agree, certainly. And, that's not to try to sell people into contacting us or anything. It's just, in my mind, unless you really know how to do it and you're confident, you need a professional to help you through, most major business functions, whether it's accounting, you probably need us to talk to a CPA or at some point, or if you're building a new headquarters, you probably want to talk to an architect, and if you're building a new online store and jumping into e-commerce, then maybe it's good to talk to an experienced developer. And so, we offer all that here if you do need it, and there are myriad other highly talented and skilled folks out there whom you can choose from.
Great, thank you. This was a very illuminating workshop. Thank you, Chuck.
Well, I thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity. So for those of you who have attended today, thank you for your time. I hope you learned something. If there are any last minute questions, raise your hand now. Otherwise, we can follow up post webinar here. My contact information is right there. chucksink.com is my website. You can see my phone number, my email address, contact form, or just call my phone number and we can talk. So thank you very much. Really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so much, Tracy, for the invitation to present today to the Upper Valley Business Alliance and members and friends.
Thank you.
Thanks again to both of you. I've always learned something. Thanks.
Thanks, Brandon.